so you can still catch me at this hour. I thought I was about to fade away already. Tonight, we won't play the left foot or right foot game. As usual, if you see this, just say hi. Or drop a comment on the right so I know I'm still here. At least not completely forgotten. Alright, no more small talk. Let's jump straight into today's bedtime story. The dense tree canopy overlapped endlessly, forming a suffocating green maze. The man walking steadily forward was named Acheng. Days of scorching heat had become unbearable for him, so he packed his bag and headed deep into the mountains to escape the heat. But to live comfortably here, he needed to build himself a shelter. And the big tree before him was the perfect spot to build it. First, Acheng cleared away the vines wrapped around the trunk. Then he took out his tools from the backpack and went into the forest to collect logs as materials for the shelter. To make it strong and reliable, he swung his machete tirelessly, cleaning all the bark from the logs, and then cut them into the right sizes one by one. He carved notches at both ends of the logs, joined them together and fixed them with wooden pegs. This created a U-shaped frame, because Acheng planned to suspend the shelter 3 meters up in the tree forks. This frame was especially important. He tied it with rope and pulled it onto the trunk, then secured it with wooden pegs. Since the measurements were so precise, the whole process went surprisingly smoothly. After finishing the beams, he fixed 2 crossbars underneath to start building the shelter's platform. He laid the prepared logs neatly across the beams and secured them with wooden pegs. Soon he had a flat and smooth platform. At first, Acheng wanted to take a break, but to avoid sleeping out in the open tonight, he quickly moved on to the next task. This time, using the bamboo he had collected, he split the bamboo down the middle with a knife, turning them into flat bamboo boards. Since their surfaces were uneven, he trimmed them again with a blade to make them smooth. Don't be fooled by Acheng's thin frame. When it came to work, he was full of energy. Next, he arranged the prepared boards into an oval shape and fixed them onto the platform. This became the main framework of the shelter. It looked complicated, but it wasn't simple at all. To make the shelter more stable, he secured more bamboo boards across the frame, tying all the joints with hemp rope. He also left space for the door. At this point, the shelter looked just like a bird cage. After that, Acheng gathered more materials. Since the platform frame extended outward a little, he decided to make good use of it by turning it into an open-air balcony. That way, he could live and cook on it later. Because of the unique frame design, he chose vines to weave the walls. He carried back all the vines he had collected and wove them tightly around the frame, minimizing the gaps between each vine. This way, the shelter would be well sealed. It was like working on an assembly line, repeating the same moves over and over. After his tireless effort, Acheng finally completed weaving the walls of the shelter. Now the shelter was starting to take shape. Thinking about the hassle of climbing up and down, he decided to build a ladder at the entrance. He found 2 curved logs and fixed steps between them. One by one, carefully, he even added railings on both sides. Then he tied the ladder to the shelter with hemp rope. At the base, finally, he laid bamboo boards onto the steps, making a beautiful, sturdy ladder. It looked so familiar, but he couldn't remember where he'd seen it before. Then, he pulled out a sheet of plastic from his backpack and wrapped the entire shelter with it. This gave the shelter great waterproofing. After finishing that, Acheng tied the ladder to the door frame with rope. When he turned it gently back inside, it fit perfectly flush into the frame. You have to admit, he's quite the design genius. Watching this scene, do you also feel a sense of déjà vu? Since time was running out, Acheng ended his building work for the day. After eating some wild fruit to regain energy, he lay down inside the shelter to rest. The next morning, heavy rain poured over the jungle, waking Acheng early with the sound of raindrops. Fortunately, no leaks appeared inside, which put him at ease. Because of the rainfall, a small stream formed in front of the shelter. Soon the rain stopped, and the sky slowly cleared. Acheng got back to the unfinished parts of the build. He collected tree bark from the jungle to fix onto the outer walls of the shelter. This would both protect the plastic sheet and make the shelter look better. He measured and cut the bark to the right size, then tied it tightly onto the wall with hemp rope. Next, he gathered clay and stones to build a simple fireplace on the balcony. After all, living in the wild without a fireplace wouldn't do. He didn't waste the leftover clay either. He spread it evenly over both ends of the walls. Finally, he made a curtain for the balcony entrance. Now the shelter was fully complete. After finishing, Acheng went to a nearby spring, eagerly jumping in to wash off the mud. Clean again, he also filled the pot with spring water and set it over the campfire to boil. By then, night had quietly fallen. Acheng prepared to cook a meal to reward himself. After cleaning the ingredients, he roasted them slowly over the fire. Soon the delicious aroma filled the air. Watching him eat the meat hungrily, my own stomach started growling too. After eating and drinking his fill, he closed the doors and windows and drifted into a peaceful sleep.